If you've played around with SharePoint for more than a few minutes, you'll know that SharePoint cares about permissions. It's very, very picky. When you use a SharePoint site, at every step of the way, it wants to know who you are and what you're allowed to do. What that means in a branding and redesign project is that you have to have very specific permissions in order to make the changes that you'll need to make. Well, let's recap some basic SharePoint permission information. In SharePoint, every site is in a site collection. And every new site collection in SharePoint begins with 3 security groups: visitors, members, and owners. You can change this and you can create new security groups, but this is the default. And if you aren't in any of those groups, you don't even get to see the sites in that site collection. If you're in the visitors group, you have a permission called read. And that is exactly what it sounds like. You get to read the site. You don't get to change anything. You don't get to make pages or sites or lists and libraries. And you certainly don't get to affect the way the site looks. Now, above that is a group called members. And if you're in the members group, you have a security privilege called contribute. And that means you can edit and delete items on the site. You can upload documents and even create pages, but you can't really change anything about the way the site looks. You are a contributor, but that's all you are. You're not in charge of it in any way. Now, above the member security group is the third group, the most powerful one, the owners group, where you have full control. And full control really means that you do get to make new sites, you get to make new pages, you get to change the way the site looks. You get to do a lot with it. And you even get to create subsites. And the owners group is a pretty good group to be in if you want to make visual changes. Now, above owners, there is the idea of a site collection administrator. And this person effectively has full control over every single site in a site collection and can do things like activating features and changing the site collection settings. Now, there is one more higher godlike permission called a farm administrator. And this person can create and delete entire site collections in SharePoint. But we don't need anything like that to do this course. Being a member is not good enough. Being an owner, that's pretty good. Being a site collection administrator, even better. To really affect a design, you need to have at least full control. Now, there's one more thing. If you're working on a site with what's called the publishing feature activated, you could be in a group called the designers group, which has a privilege called design. It's somewhere between contributor and full control, meaning somewhere between member and owner. You don't quite have as much as an owner, but you have more than a member. You can rearrange web parts, you can change the theme, you can change a little bit of the look and feel, but you can't make new subsites. And this one can be okay for doing some basic designs, but you will need pretty high permissions and you may need very high permissions. If part of your job is going to be creating the site itself, you may need even to be a site collection administrator. But if you're just working with the design of an existing site, you should be able to get by with just the designer privilege.